After Avengers Endgame, Marvel Studios were ordered to make as many products in such a short amount of time. And if you know anything about script writing, is that writing it takes time. If you rush it, then you just wrote bull, which of course doesn't end well in reality, because the results are just slop after slop. You can clearly tell that these Marvel movies and shows really don't have any depth. Either the story is just underutilized or underutilized with overproportion of jokes that doesn't land. And even if today Marvel Studios is going a studio overhaul and tries to clean up their mess and moving on from the past, a lot of the products coming out this year is still being made during that messy year previously. And one of them is of course Thunderbolts. Now, after seeing the online discourse around this movie being very positive, like a lot of people saying this is absolute cinema, this is peak, and even if I have a heart of stone and I ditched this film on cinema, I was starting to believe that Thunderbolts might be good. So I watched it a few days ago with very low expectations and also pure intentions of just trying to enjoy the movie, and to my surprise, this movie sucks to the ground. At best, Thunderbolts is a superhero movie that doesn't want to think outside the box. Despite the unique material it was given, like this film already has like washed up characters hated by the superhero society and they need to redeem themselves by saving the world from the threat of this evil Superman, and also these characters doesn't have any fancy superpowers, they only have guns to fight. So this has unlimited possibilities to be a superhero story of the century. But even then, what we have is really just a compilation of surface level characters swearing at each other with very few actions, which is also just sucks. Take Yelena and Walker for example. Yelena's origin story or motivation in the film is so vague because it mentions three subplots, with one is about her terrible childhood in the Soviet Union, the other is her absence of parenthood, and then there's the death of her sister. While these three subplots could have easily executed with them being intertwined together in the third act, and then Yelena realized that these tragedies form her personality, the movie didn't do that, and instead these are just separate things being shown just for spectacle, while her mental void just existed without any logical explanation as to why we should be worried that the void will take a toll on her. Walker's origin, on the other hand, is the stupidest one. Like apparently his wife divorced him because he keeps staring at his phone showing news reports about him killing a person instead of him killing the person. And then there's also Ghost, who is the most surface level character because she is just an object in the film. She had no origin and only in use whenever there's a threat that involves other characters getting possibly hurt, so she needs to save them. Story and pacing wise, this film is just boring. Nothing throughout feels grandiose. In fact, in the film, I have to endure for 14 minutes of our characters just swearing at each other inside a basement with just very repetitive dialogue. Like the dialogue doesn't want to move on, it stays on one point. After the basement plot, we only get 3 fight scenes, with one is just the Winter Soldier shooting down 3 cars at ease, second is the whole Thunderbolts beating up 10 bad guys in less than a minute, and third is them fighting the evil Superman for around 2 minutes. After that, there's this whole Hollywood city destruction, and then Thunderbolts help evil Superman moving on in life, and the movie ends. You see how comically weak the film is now, right? When you're making or writing a film, you have to make it interesting. You have to add these sparks to start the fire, to hook your audience. You got the theme right, like mental health, and the final fight just revolves around the villain's mental health is brilliant. I really like that. But the characters are either hard to understand or just surface level. You treat mental health as if it has anything to do with an artificial situation instead of mental health being based off of real situation. Like, I cannot sympathize or even feel with Yelena nor any other character because they just don't have a clear motivation and the excuse is just mental health. Oh, so the mental health happened because of? I don't know. And with repetitive dialogue and every single character acting sassy for no reason, including this mastermind pulling the string together with no evil motivation by the way, and yet the Thunderbolts is going after her, and the just boring fight scenes as if the gravity is a social construct, just stops my thoughts as to how much of a nothingness this journey is. And if you're not convinced with what I'm saying and still believe this is one of the best superhero movie, I will take example of other movies to compare it to you. Mental health or you're not alone in this fight being the central theme. Thunderbolts explores the theme from the perspective of a very fictional incident, like how apparently undercover spy mission could shape one's mental health problem and how this is a nuance, like this could just happen apparently. I couldn't pinpoint that to the central theme, like there's no clear connection. Like I even can't explain this shit properly. Do I know what I'm talking about? Now look at Superman with the central theme of basic human kindness. There's a clear-cut message, and yet there's also clear-cut nuance. You have humans living normal life in this superhero society, and then those who doesn't because of war initiated by greed and hunger of resources from wealthy people, and Superman needs to save these people because they are dying. But even then, he has to go through this difficult task like defeating a giant monster and also fight another Superman, and finally faces off with the very wealthy people. This whole thing, and you can still pinpoint it back to basic human kindness, is needed. And also the fact that these are very relevant issues just proves that there is actual thought and depth into the story. Teamwork. Thunderbolts only utilizes that like twice in the movie, and the rest is just again repetitive dialogue. Now look at the Suicide Squad. Every character swears at each other, and then they get into a fight, and then they're going back to being peaceful because they know that they have a mission to fulfill. And then we also get to learn and spend some time with them and their origins. We actually spend a lot of time with the personal struggle of Bloodsport with his horrible childhood that leads to his fear of rats, Ratcatcher with the loss of her dad, Polka Dot Man with child abuse, King Shark with having no friends, Peacemaker with the struggle of fulfilling the mission by having to betray his teammates because he believes that the mission could lead to worldwide peace as in his name. Even look at a Minecraft movie. I was surprisingly amazed that this has the most likable and chemistry-inducing set of characters ever. I was introduced with a lengthy flashback of Henry and how he is slowly dissociating himself from his sister, and same goes with her. We saw how much of a selfish and insecure douchebag Garrett is. We see Dawn trying to comfort Henry's sister no matter the circumstances. We also learn that Steve isn't a perfect guy and he's more or less easily manipulated just like Garrett. Holy shit, these characters are very colorful, unlike this. In short, Thunderbolts had anything to be one of the greatest superhero story of all time. The problem is when you're not being creative and wrote everything on just the surface, on just from hindsight. This is a movie you should not watch. I'm gonna move on, so feel free to give your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe to support the channel, and I'll see you soon. Peace.